Hello, beautiful. Welcome to day 2 of the Linen Closet Organizing Challenge and the Thursday Talks with me, Suzanna Kaye. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. As you hop on, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. And the cat's here today too. If you're watching on video, then this is Oscar Archibald Kitty III, and he has decided to join us. Hopefully he won't stay. But yes, today is day 2 of the Linen Closet Challenge. For day 1, we did not have it live, so today is the day that we are talking about our linen closet and kind of an overview of what's happening during the challenge, some tips and tricks, and this is a great chance for you to ask any questions that you might have about how to organize your linen closet, how to make those decisions, what's going on, and tell me about your linen closet, and I'll tell you about mine. I am glad that you are here. Welcome. I see in the chat area, Nancy says hi from Colorado, and Melanie, my allergies are something. So sometimes my N's and my D's sound similar, but that was actually a mistake of my own and allergies combined. Melanie says hi from Southern California, and hi, Oscar Kitty. Yes, he has become quite the camera hog, that cat. So let me know in the chat area if you, A, have registered for the challenge and you're doing the Linen Closet Challenge with us, or B, what's your linen closet like? Is your linen closet all held together really well, or is it in need of a little bit of extra TLC? And while you do that, actually, let me see if I can copy right now. I wanted to copy the link so you can join the challenge. So it's free, and it is happening from July 16th through 20th. And if you do register for the challenge, then you will be invited to our group hike on Saturday, where not only will we be able to do all of our normal productive stuff that our Path members get to do, but we will also be talking linen closets this Saturday. So make sure to register. Let me add the register link in the chat area as well, and make sure that you have everything you need. Let me see. So it's a super easy link. It's just SuzannaKaye.live, Live, /join-the-challenge. So I just added it. If you're on YouTube, it's in the chat. If you're watching this video, you can see it really small in the comments, but let me put it up bigger. There we go. Bigger on the screen. And if you are on my Facebook page, then you will see it in the comments as well. Welcome to Laurie from Georgia. She says hello. Hello. So why are we doing a linen closet challenge? And why right now? Well, there are several reasons. First off, my linen closet really needs to be organized. And I would say that's probably the main reason, because my linen closet has started to look really bad, which I'm going to talk about how that happens and some of the things that are triggers that we can avoid those triggers in a minute. So that's part of why I decided it was the Linen Closet Challenge, but also if you are affected in any way by back to school, whether you're a grandma who helps watch the kids or spends more time with them during the summer, or you're a mom or a parent, I should say, and you have kids in your life that are school age, back to school is coming faster than we expect. We don't have that much time, just a matter of weeks before school starts back up. So now is the perfect time to try to push through and get some of those projects done before school starts and that routine and structure and busyness gets going again. So once back to school starts, then having your linen closet organized will actually help with those routines, because there will be less friction and less time wasted as the family needs various things, especially with things like bath times and getting ready for work and stuff like that. So our linen closet, when your linen closet is out of order and it is not easy to access the things that you need, then that often trickles over to how well we take care of ourselves. So when our linen closet is really out of order and cluttered or disorganized, a lot of times, if you think about it, if it's been disorganized for a little bit, you probably aren't taking care of yourself quite as well as you should be either. They tend to, your linen closet tends to have a reflection of and a reflection on your own self-care. So when we get our linen closet in order, we naturally start to take care of our physical and mental selves better, because we're giving ourselves that area of peace, order, control, respect for yourself. And it's a great snowball effect. Organizing the linen closet can help get you back on track with taking care of the things that are important about you. The same with your bathroom. So some of this, if you have extra time during the linen closet challenge and you want to start taking even better care of yourself, also touch up your bathroom a little bit. Declutter there a little bit as well, so that you have a nice, refreshing, healthy, healing, mentally calming space for yourself, because that is what helps encourage us to truly pay attention to what our body and our mind needs so we can take better care of ourselves. Let me know in the chat area if you find that you also have seen the proof of what I'm talking about. When your linen closet and your bathroom are disorganized, do you notice that you take care of yourself a little less consistently or not quite as well? Let me know if you got some proof of that in your own life. But that's why the linen closet is important. It is probably, out of all of the closets in your home, it's probably the second most important closet for your mental health, I would say, because it is so tied to how we care for ourselves and how we feel about our deserving to be cared for. The first most important is our clothing closet, that master closet, because that has such a powerful effect on your day, both at the beginning and the end of the day, but primarily at the beginning of the day. When you're choosing clothes, having a master closet with your clothes that is nourishing and that makes you feel better about yourself is huge. I'm not talking about buying nicer clothes, although that would be lovely. So, second most important closet in the home, if you ask me, because it is so tied to our mental and physical health. Now, when your linen closet is peaceful and serene and decluttered and organized, then we tend to use that linen closet either at the beginning of our day or at the end of our day for our showers and for, grabbing the things that we need in order to have that personal care time. So that's one of those things where it also just helps either start your day or end your day so much nicer. You feel a little bit better about your day when you go to take a shower and you open the closet and wow, it looks nice in there. You might even stand there for an extra minute and just look at it. So in the chat area really quickly, before I go on to the why, the sort of triggers that can cause the linen closet to fall apart, because I personally have had several of these triggers happen over the past probably 2 years. And my linen closet has been beautiful for quite some time, and then all of a sudden it fell apart, and this is why. But before I go into that, I wanted to say hello to Lynn from Kansas. She says, my linens and towels are already organized, so working on some other things instead, like cleaning out the floor of my bedroom closets. I love that. Anytime we do a challenge, if you don't want to work on whatever that challenge is, and I know that there are several of our Pathfinders and followers who do this already, feel free to kind of work alongside us on whatever you need to work on. So if your linen closet looks awesome, like Lynn's, which is so wonderful, woot woot Lynn, then feel free, pick something else and work alongside us anyway. I love that. Melanie says, I'm signed up for the Linen Closet Challenge. My closet tends to get messy quickly, so I definitely need some TLC on it right now. You and me both, Melanie. You and me both. Lori says, greetings from Cleveland from my new cell phone. Oh, yay. She says a new laptop is being set up by Staples. Hope to get it back by Friday. Aw, that'll be wonderful for you. I love that. Well, I'm hoping that things are starting to get a little bit more settled for you, and sending big hugs. We love you, Lori. Hi, Brana. She's here from California, and Rosella from New York City. Welcome, welcome. Lori H says, the linen closets are organized. I keep the old and torn sheets to use for paint drop cloths, picnics, etc. Perfect. I do too. I use them to cover our bikes outside so they don't get dusty and stuff like that. So that is fantastic. And we will probably during this week, talk about keeping some of those things as, rags and for other uses, how many to keep, and what to do with some that might not be, donatable for human use. But there are some ways that you can let go of sheets and towels and things like that for animal rescues, or to recycle the fabrics and things like that. So that's super handy as well. Sandy says, my linen closet challenge is limited space. Oh, yeah, my linen closet is weird. It's weird. Not a ton of space, and it's kind of deep. Not super, super deep, but a weird size deep. So I've got some challenges there too. The joys of living in an older home, which I love the older home, but the closets are not ideal. So you're in the right place, Sandy. You and I can tackle that together. All right, so first up, as far as understanding some of the needs of our linen closet. Now, each day of the challenge, you will get a challenge task, and I'll post it in the Home Organizing Challenges Facebook group. I will also email it to you if you're registered. Now, if you're registered, you'll also get the other benefits like the group hike invitation and things like that. But either way, you can also stop by the Home Organizing Challenges group in Facebook, and I'll post them there. So each day we do have our regular task. With this live, my goal is to cover some of the overarching mental side, generalized ideas and tricks and things that you need to know, as well as to answer questions. So if you have questions, please let me know in the chat area. When it comes to any area that is high use by multiple people within your household, or that is high use by you, and it might be something where you need to grab things quickly sometimes, and you could be in a rush sometimes, then there are some special considerations that we need. So this includes not only your linen closet, but it would include things like certain areas of your pantry. It includes certain areas of your master closet, the medications areas in your home. Sometimes the cleaning closet, depending on your mentality around cleaning. But anywhere that is high use and that has either multiple people using it, or people, including yourself, who use it and who might be in a rush or not really focused on keeping it super nice and neat, we need to make sure of a few things. First off, label things. Even if it's just labeling a shelf, labeling makes a huge difference. You might know what goes in there, but does the rest of your family really remember? I mean, you probably set it up, you probably organized it, it makes sense to you. When you explained it, it made sense to them. But how much of that are they retaining? Not only that, but if you're like me, and you know, in menopause, ADHD, anything like that, then you probably, have some brain fog or are not as good at remembering things as you used to be. So labels help us as well when we are in a rush or when we just set up a new system. So whether it is labeling the bins that you're putting things in or labeling the shelf that things are on, trust me when I say this, labels are a game changer. Even if you feel like you don't need labels, just try it for a little bit. They don't have to stay on forever if you feel like they're not pretty, if you don't like having the labels there, at least until it's a habit accessing each area. For areas that you cannot see what's inside of a bin or a box or what's behind something, then it does help to keep the labels on. You can remove the labels for the things that are easily seen. If you have clear boxes, and if it's towels, like stacks of towels that you can see, then once you're in the habit, you can remove the labels if you really need to. But having everybody on the same page and make it as easy as possible for the rest of the family. That is the most important thing, because if it's not easy, then we are human and we won't do it, right? You've heard me say that a million times. If it's not easy, we won't do it because we're human beings, especially if we're in the rush or if we are just not in the mindset of caring, which happens often for us. So labels are huge. With something like a linen closet, master closet with your clothes, things like that. Also, if it is overstuffed, if it's not very easy to get the items in once they've been washed and the items out when you need them without knocking things over or having to push things in to make them fit, then it is going to all fall apart. It is going to look bad very quickly. It's just simply a fact of life. So there are some ways that you can handle if you need that quantity of towels or sheets or whatever it is, and you don't have the space in your regular linen closet. Sometimes you can create sort of an overflow area where if you're running low on, say, maybe you're a caregiver, you go through washcloths like crazy, and then maybe you have a bunch of your washcloths in a reasonable stack so they won't fall over, so it's easy to replace and pull them out within your linen closet. And then possibly there's another area that's not quite so easy to reach that might have extra washcloths that when it gets low in the linen closet, you can pull those in, versus trying to fit everything into the linen closet and ending up with a big tower of washcloths that easily fall down, or trying to push them in because they don't really fit. It's hitting that top shelf, things like that. So making sure that it is not overstuffed is huge. And that is one of the things that happened with us here in our house with my linen closet. And I will show you. I am transparent in my own garbage. I am transparent in my own struggles with things. So let me show you. Actually, I'm going to try to see if I can show this in a better way so you can see it a little bit better. All right. I'm going to show you some pictures of my linen closet. You can see one of my pups in the background even. Here we go. All right, so hopefully now you can see this is my linen closet at the moment, and it is very small. It does not hold everything that we have by far, but there aren't a lot of us, so we really focus on just the personal care items in this area. I don't keep medicines or tablecloths or anything like that in this section. I have a different closet that has to hold those. But as you can see, it has become very overstuffed. We inherited some things from family members who passed and did not let go of enough. So it became super stuffed in there. And once it started to get a little overstuffed, the snowball effect happened. So once it started to get super tight with our towels and our hand towels, then people, including myself, if I'm going to be honest, people stopped putting away the bins where they go as easily, because they used to be able to pull out the bin of washcloths or the various hygiene bins and get what you needed and just put it back. But now it's not easy to put back because the huge thing of towels is in the way, right? Because they're so shoved in there that you can't get the bin in and out easily, which means now the bin stays in there and things get shoved into the bin, right? At the top of the linen closet, it's weird because this is a really high, like there's a lot of space above this stuff, but it's not usable space very easily because, well, it's all blocked off if you put anything on the lower level. But this is where we put our sheets and our extra soaps and things. As you can see, sheets just get shoved in there because, again, too much is in here. People, when it's time to put it away, it's easier to shove it in than try to wrestle with all the things. So when it is overstuffed, as you can see, mine is, then things fall apart very quickly. Also, you will probably notice that there's a lot of certain categories, and those are the things that are kind of making things extra hard. So one category that you're looking at right now is rugs, the little bathroom rugs. And that's because we inherited also another little dog, a little old dog who has bladder control problems. And we love him to death. He's wonderful, but we have a lot more rugs now. So one of the things I'm addressing this week is, all right, we need a separate space for the dog rugs versus our actual bathroom rugs, because this is too much for this closet. But when life changes, whenever life changes, then these are the things that happen, right? We suddenly have areas that fall apart. So let's stop sharing that. There we go. So in our lives, we had health issues happen, we had losses in the family, we had various very busy times going on in the process. So with all of these changes, when something changes, then our systems usually need to change too. So it's just simply a matter of, stop sharing. It's just simply a matter of it's time. I had a beautifully organized linen closet for several years without having to do any maintenance on it. It was all put to back beautifully, even with my whole family going in and out of it, with dog sitters, different dog sitters coming in that would stay going in and out of it. It was simply changes, which led to overstuffing it, which led to chaos. So if you want your linen closet to function really well, especially the areas that you use the most, which would be your sheets, your towels, your personal care items, and overstock, those areas need to be as lean as they can be to fit in the space without causing problems. Now, again, if you have extras, then it is okay to have an extra space. If you're a caregiver, it's also okay to do something like I'm going to do with the towels that are the dog towels, is to find a different space that's closer to where they're used. So for caregivers, you might actually keep the extra washcloths or a lot of your washcloths maybe in the room with the person that you care for, because you're going to use them there more often. You might need to find unconventional spaces to keep things. For our dogs' towels, I will probably keep them actually near our back door where I keep some of the different pee pads and things. So unconventional spaces are okay for some of the overflow or some of the special use items, but you want to make sure that you don't have too much. Really quickly, in the chat area, I wanted to answer some questions and read some comments and take a sip of my drink. And remember, throughout this challenge, post your pictures in the Facebook group I will be posting some of my pictures in the Facebook group. I'll share some of my progress in the Facebook group. That's also a great place to ask questions. And not only myself, but also Stephanie, who you've probably spoken to before, and other members, active members within the Facebook group, can all answer your questions as well. We are a mighty knowledge base for ideas and for help. And make sure to head on over there. If somebody shares a photo or a question or a story, encourage them, like it, just comment on them, tell them way to go. So that way we can all lift each other up during this challenge as well. I think that's one of the most important things, is to be a nice safe space where you are uplifted and celebrated and understood. So that is what the Facebook group is, and I look forward to seeing you during that, during this. There we go. So Lori M says, after 25 years without a linen closet in houses we owned, I'm now in a rental duplex that has so much storage, including a linen closet, a pantry, and a coat closet. I love them all. Yay! That's awesome. Sounds like a dream, right? Having so much storage. Enjoy it. That's wonderful. I'm excited. So now you have a chance to set up. I don't have a pantry either. Now you have a chance to set up your linen closet with labels and make it all exactly how you want it. And that makes me so excited for you. Nancy says, labeling the size of tablecloths and sheets. Yes, 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 yes. I will be talking about that. And one of the things that I do for that during this linen closet challenge, but let me show you really quickly one of the things that I do. Here it is. And right now you don't see it in its best state because everything got chaotic, bringing in so much extra stuff from the estate. But in the top left in my picture of my linen closet, you see those storage bins that are on their side with a label. Those are actually for my sheets and tablecloths. I have my sheets in a couple of them, and they can stack on top of each other higher up into that wasted space. And in the area that I store my tablecloths, which is where I store some of the holiday stuff, I have my tablecloths and extra curtains in there as well. I have some extra curtains for times when I do change them out. So these are amazing. If you go to my Amazon storefront page, then these are one of the items on there that I absolutely love. I don't remember the exact name of them off the top of my head, but go to my Amazon store page and check it out there because I highly recommend it. And it's nice. They have this little window, this clear window at the very top, so you can see through and see what's in there, as well as they have a removable label that comes in and out easily. Thank goodness. Not easily where it falls out, but easily where you can actually pull it out and change what's on it and put it back in. And that has been a huge lifesaver as well. So yes, yes, yes. Also, it really helps if all of your beds, I know it's not always possible, but if you can, if all of your beds are the same size. So if your guest bed and your kid's bed are all like a queen size bed, then that means that the same sheets can work on all of them. Life changing, let me tell you, because we were able to change that out as we replaced mattresses. Then we just changed that. They were all the same, and our blow-up mattresses are queen size. Our mattress is queen size. Our teenagers' mattresses queen size. Amazing. So we don't have to keep as many pairs of sheets because we don't have these different bed sizes. Now, that's one of those things where as you need to buy a new mattress, you can consider trying to work towards the same size for all of them. It's not something that's, don't go out and buy a new mattress just because you want it to be the same size. That would be a lot of money. But these sheet boxes are helpful. Also, with these, I can hold more than one set of sheets in one box. So I can actually hold 2 sets of sheets for our bedroom, 2 set in one box, 2 sets of sheets for our teenager's bedroom in another box. And then those extra sheets also become our air mattress sheets, and we still have extra if somebody's visiting. So helpful. And let me stop sharing that. All right, so back to the chat area. Melanie says, my linen closet also has rather deep shelves, about 32 inches deep. Holy cow. Those are some deep shelves. Amazing and difficult at the same time. She says, one of my issues is an overabundance of blankets. Yes, many of which are special to me, basically keepsake blankets. And that is fantastic. If you still use them as blankets, then great. That's a great place to keep them because that's where you're using them. If there are any that you aren't actually using, but they're just keepsakes, those are probably better stored not in that prime real estate of where your towels and sheets and blankets go in that high traffic area, right? So if you remember, and if you don't remember, you can look this up on my YouTube channel. When I talk about the property law for organizing property law, we talk about the different areas of a space and what is kind of that prime property that we really want to make lean and running as smoothly as possible because that's the area that we use things the most. And I talk about, beachfront property. I talk about countryside. I talk about the moon. So watch that video if you haven't. But your main area, the main reachable area in your linen closet, and for you, since it's so deep, it's going to be that first part, first half of the shelves. The back half of the shelves is more of like a countryside. The first half is beachfront property. That's the primest real estate in your linen closet. That is where the stuff that you use all the time goes, right? So whatever blankets you're grabbing all the time, those should be front and center or front end reachable beachfront property or, slightly off the beach property where you can reach them easily. Now, if you have way too many of those still, or if your linen closet is simply too small to really be able to handle the blankets along with your towels and all the other things it has to hold, you can consider alternative spaces for your blankets. Now, Melanie, I know you have cats, and I have a cat too, as you know. So my favorite solution for this is actually to find a big basket. We have this big, flexible wicker basket that I put behind our recliner in our living room. So that way, if the recliner hits it, it's okay. It doesn't hurt anything. But it's full of blankets that we use for our couch because we love to pull out blankets and snuggle with the dogs. And I have a little baby blanket that we use for one of our dogs. I throw one of those over the top of it. So that way, when the cat sleeps on top of that basket, it does not get all of the blankets covered in cat hair. So that's also a possibility. If you have some form of storage near the area that you would use the blankets, whether it's in your living room to cuddle on the couch or the recliner, then having either open storage, ours is a pretty wicker basket, so even if you can see it, it's nice looking, or maybe a storage ottoman where inside you can keep some blankets, somewhere that you can store some of these blankets for quick grab, then that will free up some space in your linen closet. Even in your bedroom, sometimes we could store our extra blankets inside. I like to fold up extra blankets and extra sheet sets and put them inside those decorative pillow shams that we don't actually sleep on. They just get pulled off the bed. That's a great place to store some of those extras. But when you have a lot of keepsake linens, whether they're tablecloths or blankets or things like that, separate out the ones that are true keepsakes that you're not really using, but that are more memorabilia, and put those with your memorabilia items rather than keeping them in such a high traffic area. Also, really be tough. If you have a bunch of keepsakes that you are using, really be tough on how many non-keepsakes you keep, right? So if you have some blankets there that are not really keepsakes and you have enough with just your keepsakes, let those other blankets go or repurpose them. You can repurpose them by putting them with gardening stuff to cover plants, or various things like that. Or just donate them to an animal shelter or something, because they can always use blankets that their kitties and puppies can snuggle in. So yes, overabundance of blankets, many of which are special. That's kind of my go-to with that. Hopefully that helps you out. We will also have to talk about those deep, deep linen closet shelves, which are a blessing and a curse. I completely understand. And remind me, if I don't talk about it during this session, remind me to talk about it during either a Pathfinders Thursday talk or in the Facebook group. Because there are absolutely tricks for deep, deep closets. All right, lovely Marie says, blessings. Sorry for the tardiness, but she'll be here at noontime for the Pathfinders Thursday talk. Yay, so glad. I'm glad that you're here. Sandy says, where do you store your towels? For us, we live in a mid-century modern home that used to be one of the officers' houses for the Navy base here in Orlando back in the day. So this is like built in the 50s, and it was built primarily for military families and more the higher up military families. So we really have very little storage as far as closets. Not only was it the 50s where they had small closets, but military people, when they are like solid military, they move around a lot. They're lean and mean with their stuff. So all that to say, our closets, not great. So we do not have a place to store towels near our showers. This linen closet that we have is across from our bathroom, one of our bathrooms. This is across from the guest bathroom / teenagers shower. And as you can see in the picture, if you're seeing the video, I have 2 shelves of towels that are a mess right now that is across from that bathroom. My husband and I, when we go to take a shower in our master bath, there is not any storage in that super tiny bathroom. So we have to walk all the way over here to get our towel and bring it all the way in there. Not as fun. So ideally, we would put some sort of wardrobe near the master bathroom, but this whole side of the house is just small. So right now, our towels, as you can see, are right in the middle beachfront property of our linen closet. Now, how it is right now, this is my before picture. It is not ideal. We do not need to have 2 stacks of towels, 2 entire shelves taken up by towels, though we can if we want to, once we purge down to a reasonable number of towels. We used to have 2 stacks. We don't use as many towels anymore. So realistically, I'm hoping to get down to 1 shelf of towels with just like 4 or 5 towels instead of the number of towels that we have going on here. I might do 2 shelves if 4 or 5 towels are just too hard to shove back in. Having too many towels can be is a really common problem within a linen closet. So if you have more than what you would normally go through in a week for you and whoever else lives in your family, or at least go through before you could reasonably run a load of wash, then try either purging some or creating an overstock area somewhere else so that you have your just in case towels that you can pull from if you need them, and just keep this part lean and mean. So for us, that's 5. That's 2 for my husband, 2 for myself, and 1 for the teenager, only because the teenager is not with us all the time. She's with us every other weekend, practically, pretty much. So it's just easiest for us that way. So then she has 2 while she's here, and we tend to do more laundry. But that's where I keep my towels. So this is my beachfront property within the linen closet. It is the easiest to grab. It's also the easiest to see. So when we do have a guest here, or we have somebody here watching our pets while we're out of town, then they can easily see where the towels are. the hand towels, the ones that are spilling out of the closet at the moment that we have way too many of. They normally go on the left side of one of the stacks of towels, and on the other stack of towels on the left, we usually have a small bin of washcloths. And I put those in a bin because they are most likely to fall over and get really messy. So hopefully that's a answer that helps you out. Lovely Marie says, to save room in my linen closet, I use the vacuum seal bags to save room at the top of the closet, then work my way down to be more organized. Yes, those vacuum bags, if you can find really good ones that stay sealed, then they are fantastic. I also sometimes will use vacuum seal bags and then put them inside of another container, like those sheet holders. That's a great place to even vacuum seal down some extra sheets. Put a couple vacuum sealed bags of sheet sets in there and then close it up. So that way, if they do start to let some air back in and puff back out, they're within a container and they can't completely repuff, which is wonderful. But I love that. Yes, the top of the closet, great place to vacuum seal things that you're not using all the time. Lori M says, I plan 2 sets of towels per person living in the house, plus 2 sets for guests, 2 bath mats per person. So each bath had 1 set per person hanging on the towel rods and the second set in the cabinet. I love that. That's fantastic. And depending on how often you have guests, if you have them very often, great. Keeping those towels in with your regular towels works wonderfully. If you're like us and you don't have it as often, I actually sometimes will keep the guest towels and washcloths and sheets and things like that that I want to keep nice. So my family does not use them and wear them out, and they still look good, but they're also out of our way. I keep them in a separate area. So that way I can just pull all of that stuff out when we have a guest. I can lay it out nicely for them to easily find, but I can also put it away and it's not have to stay beachfront property because we don't have guests consistently. Maybe usually like once every couple months. Right now it's a little bit more, but great. I love that. Having your limits is important, and there's no right or wrong limit as far as what works for you, but knowing what yours is can help you keep from adding to it and ending up with a lot of clutter. Joanne says, my unconventional space is the storage area in my sofa. I love that. Yes, that is a perfect place for extra blankets. Love that. Melanie says, a little off subject, but what thread count do folks prefer for their sheets? I would like to get a new set of sheets, and the thread count always baffles me. Ooh, that's a great question. If anybody has an answer for Melanie, what they think about thread count or even some things that they look for when they buy sheets, then let her know, because that's a great question. Buying sheets can be very confusing sometimes. Lori says, Suzanna, how many sheet sets and pillowcases fit in the storage bins? It depends on the size of your sheet sets with the pillowcases and everything. You know, if it's king size sheet sets with a bunch of the decorative pillow shams and such, then it'll be fewer. You might only be able to fit 1, possibly 2. If you've just got twin sheets with the 1 pillowcase and they're thinner without like all the extra decorative stuff or anything, then you might be able to fit 3. Probably not more than 3 twin sheet sets with all the fixins, but that would be my guess. But it is kind of depends on your sheets as well, because I have some sheet sets that are thin, some that are thick. So that's my basic guess. Good question. Bonnie says, I have some kitchen items in there because they're heavy and I don't want to put in wall cabinets in the kitchen. That is brilliant. I highly, highly recommend using spaces in different areas for items that are overflow. So right now, your linen closet, it sounds like your linen closet has some extra space and your kitchen does not. So that's a very good idea. I love that. Bonnie says, I fear they're too heavy. Any suggestions? Is it working for you? Is your linen closet cluttered and you don't have enough room for what's in there because of the kitchen appliances that are heavy? Or is it working? If it's working, then I think that's great and there's no reason to change it. If it's not working, then looking at what's in your linen closet as well as what you're storing for the kitchen and what's in the kitchen, and making sure that you have everything that you really need, quick grab for your linens, and that you're actually using the things in your linen closet and you're actually using the appliances and things in your kitchen, and think about how often you're using them. So for example, if you have a KitchenAid stand mixer, which those, as we can all who've had one or know of them, know those are very heavy and big and kind of cumbersome. I would not want that in a high shelf. So if that was one of the things that you're storing, then I would think, okay, how often do I use this? If I use it once a month versus if I use it once every 6 months, am I also actively using everything that's on the kitchen counters? Maybe this could take the place of, the bread maker that you rarely use, or the toaster oven that you use once in a blue moon. If there's any place, if you're using the mixer all the time, can you swap it out with something on the kitchen counter that you're not using as often, so you don't have to lift it as much and it's right there and more convenient? If you're not using some of the things that are stored in the linen closet that's getting overstuffed, if it's getting overstuffed, or some of the appliances that you're storing for the kitchen, if you're rarely using them, first think, do you really need them? Is there another way you could do it those few times that you are doing whatever that activity is? Is there a way that you could just borrow that from somebody else? Maybe your sister has a KitchenAid mixer as well, and you only use it once every 6 months. Maybe you could sell or donate yours and then borrow hers once every 6 months. Or go make bread or holiday cookies at her house once every 6 months. So is there a way that you could let go of it? You don't really need it because you can do it another way. If you do really need it, is there another place that you could store it? Maybe if you only use that stand mixer every 6 months, maybe you have a garage or a storage shed where you could store it and just wrap it up nicely in, like, those vacuum bags are really nice because they do seal pretty well. You could put a vacuum bag, one of the big ones, around it and put it in a sealed bin, and then that way it keeps it nice and clean and protected in the garage or the shed, and you can pull it out once every 6 months when you need it and not have to keep it up high. That's a thought. So think about what your different options are. Get creative about, okay, well, where else could I store this that would be convenient? Do I really need this? And hopefully that helps. Melanie says, in another question, I prefer a smaller body towel due to my shorter arms, my shorter being and arms. So I'm unsure what size to get, as I need a couple new towels as well. Yes, if you prefer the smaller ones, usually the standard ones, I feel, are somewhat smaller. You could also look at the kid size. If the standard ones are still bigger than you like, check out some of the kid size ones. Not only that, but the kids, they have such fun patterns. So you can have fun with it too. So find yourself some fun towels designed for kids if the standard ones are bigger than you want. I would definitely avoid anything that says like a bath sheet or like beach towel or large bath towel, that type of thing. But anybody else who has thoughts about that for Melanie? And we could also talk about that during the Pathfinders Thursday talk too. See what the fellow Pathfinders have to say. Rana says, I keep the linens for our guest room in a bottom cabinet in the room. The top is a bookcase. Yes, I love doing stuff like that. Keep it right where it is, right where you will remember it, in a zone with other guest room things. Yeah, I love that. Lenore says, I have to leave early, but I'm grateful as always for your thoughts. Aw, I'm glad that you were here with us, Lenore. Rhonda says, no one can use our guest room because it's become our storage room. Someday we'll get it cleaned out. Right? Well, when you do, at least you already have the guest stuff right there. Right? So at least our guest rooms tends to happen, and it's not the end of the world. You'll get there. At least it's saving some of the other areas. Bonnie says, thank you for the alternative suggestions. You're so welcome. And Lori says, great idea to borrow a friend's large kitchen appliance rather than keeping and storing the one you have but don't use often. Right? Not only that, but what a great excuse to get together with a friend, right? You can go cook in their kitchen and clean up after yourself, or invite them over. Say, hey, can I borrow your KitchenAid mixer? Why don't you come on over for a glass of wine, and while I make the cookies or bread, and I'll make you a loaf too, and we can spend some time together, or just borrow it and return it. So great reason to connect with people. There are so many things that we own that we don't use very often. If we just connect with other people, then it makes it so much easier. In the neighborhood that I currently live in Orlando, I love this neighborhood. It's a very unique neighborhood, super neighborly, which is so nice. And one of the things that when we first moved in, I was invited to was a neighborhood tool exchange. So there was, and I think it's still there. I've not needed a tool in so long. But there's a group within our neighborhood that I think it was on Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app or something like that, or Facebook group, where if you needed a specific tool, whether it's a big cutter for palm fronds that are high up, or if it's a specialty screwdriver, whatever it is, then you could post to the group what you need and borrow it from somebody else in the neighborhood and then return it when you're done. So you did not have to buy all of these different random special tools, because within the neighborhood, somebody's got it. And I borrowed something at one point when we first moved in, and I've loaned out tools before to people. I borrowed a post hole digger and I've loaned out various things. And during hurricanes, we do the same thing. You know, you walk around and say, does anybody have such and such? So I've borrowed a mini chainsaw and things like that. So if you can find just the right group of people, whether it's in your neighborhood, maybe it's in your church, you could even organize the group. All you have to do is have just one method of communication where people can say, hey, do you have this? And somebody else can say yes. It is so wonderful, even within your family or friends. Just knowing who has what means that you don't have to buy the thing too, and you can loan it out. So I love that. CJ says, my favorite sheets are, here Melanie, she says, long staple Egyptian cotton 400 to 600 thread count. Too many sets in this house. Oldies are headed for the garden to cover plants on cold winter nights. Wow, that sounds luxurious and so wonderful. Yes. So I've never heard of long staple Egyptian cotton. I will have to look that one up. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, CJ. Yeah. Well, now you have kind of some questions and answers, some brainstorming, but to wrap this all up, remember, with your linen closet, when things change, expect the areas and systems in your home to fall apart a bit. If it's because you got busy, you might have had a health problem, maybe you had an influx of things coming into your home, like we did from three estates all within months of each other. Maybe it's simply, you went through some form of change or trauma and you were not able to maintain things the same way that you used to because your brain needed to be somewhere else taking care of things. And that is okay. Once you are ready to regroup, things might have fallen apart. That's okay. Maybe it's just simply you have kids. Summer vacation happened. Whatever it is, when things change, systems fall apart. They fall apart, though, because they are not set up for the new way that your life is. It's not a bad way. It's just a different way. So look at how they fell apart. When I look at my poor linen closet and I look at the pictures and I look at what's really going on, I can see what the problems are, right? I can see, okay, we added a bunch more towels. They don't fit in very easily anymore. So now they're just getting shoved in there so that they can fit between the shelf and the pile. Something else got added to the shelf that's not supposed to be there. So now there's no space for the hand towels. What is that thing? And let's find it a better home. Looking at what's going on, really taking a step back and using some forensics, I call it forensic organizing, will help you see, okay, well, what is not fitting the same way it used to? What habits are not as easy as they used to be? How can I fix those? So for me, I'm going to target fixing the towels, including the hand towels, fixing the sheets area up at the top because that's changed out a bit. So it's no longer easy to get the sheets in and out like it used to be. And those rugs, now that we have extra rugs because we've got this lovely old man dog who needs extra rugs. So those are going to be my 3 areas that I look at the most because I believe the rest will work if those are not blocking it. So do some forensic analysis, but when things change, it falls apart. It's a chance to rebuild in a better way, in a new way. And if it's not easy, we won't do it, right? So when you redo things, label everything. So that way, not only you remember what your decisions were, but your guests, your other household members, everybody knows exactly where everything goes. It makes a huge, huge difference, especially if you're the one who is in charge of organizing and maintaining these things. You get fewer questions. You can just do the answer of, well, what do the labels say? Which is lovely. So those are kind of just some overarching things. And finally, pay attention to your linen closet and where you store your towels and your personal care items because it truly does affect how you take care of yourself, mentally and physically. Your personal care suffers when the area that you store the items for your personal care is out of control. So if you want to take better care of yourself, do a better job, and just feel better about yourself and how much you care about yourself, your linen closet is a great place to start. So keep on checking out the Facebook group. Make sure to register if you've not registered yet for the challenge. I posted that in the comments and is in the description of this video. It's got the link. It's only going on for this week through Sunday, so make sure to register before then. Join us for the group hike. If you're registered, you will get an email with more information before the hike so that we can all work on it together and I can answer questions for you. And just do this one small step at a time. Don't wait until Saturday to even start, right? Just today, do the one bite, that one little bite that's posted. That's the day's task. And this weekend, we will be able to spend extra time making it perfectly imperfect and yours, right? Melody, I did it again, says, joined very late, just spent 2.5 hours figuring out the new panoramic Wi-Fi equipment and activating it. Son and I both working on it. Oof. Well, I hope it's up and running and doing well now. Never fun, but I'm glad that you're here, Melody. Patricia says, I don't have a linen closet. I just keep one extra set in the closet of the rooms where the bed is. And I keep the extra towels under the bathroom sink. The rest are rags in the laundry room. Yay! That is perfect. I love it. So maybe for this challenge, pick a different area, whether it's the bathroom itself or a different closet. Pick a different area and just work alongside us. I love that. CJ says, register for the challenge right away. Are we supposed to get daily emails? I did get the to-do list. Yes, you should get the to-do list. The Facebook group will have the tasks, but you will also get the invite and information for the public group hike on Saturday. It's kind of a mix of Pathfinders and public where we will be doing some linen closet work there too. So hopefully that helps you out. Pathfinders, I am hopping over right now to our Pathfinders Thursday talk on Zoom where we can share more, talk more, and keep on keeping on. Everyone, you're doing amazing. One small step at a time this week during the challenge, and you can make a huge difference not only in your linen closet, but also in your life and how you feel about yourself, your life, and your home. So You've got this. Keep on going, and I'll talk to you soon. I love you. Bye now.